I think I found the problem. Should be an easy fix.
Thank God, we thought we were stranded.
Just need a few minutes.
Thank you so much. Do you think you can fix it?
I'll do my best to get you back on the road.
Please, we're stuck.
Ladies, let's take a look. Looks like you've blown a hose.
Oh no, is it fixable?
Should be. Got the right wrench here? I'll get you back on the road.
Looks like the radiator's blown. We need to get this cooled down.
Is it fixable? Oh God, what do we do?
Don't worry, I can help.
I was exhausted, soaked from the rain, and barely keeping my life together when I saw two girls stranded beside a broken luxury car on a lonely highway. At the time, I thought stopping to help them would cost me another 20 minutes of sleep. I had no idea that single decision would end up saving everything I'd spent years building. My name is Henry Cole. I'm 29 years old, a mechanic from Pittsburgh, and 3 months ago, I was on the verge of losing my garage, my livelihood, and the future I had worked for since I was 18. A powerful development company wanted the property where my small repair shop stood. They had already pushed out nearly everyone else. I was the last tenant refusing to leave. Since my lease still had time remaining, they couldn't force me out legally, so they decided to do it another way. They sued me, claiming I had violated the lease agreement. Their lawyers were expensive, aggressive, and confident. Mine was an old friend helping me for almost nothing. The court hearing that would decide my future was only days away. On a stormy Friday night, after working 2 jobs just to afford legal fees, I was driving home through heavy rain when I noticed a black Mercedes sitting on a shoulder with its hazard lights blinking weakly. 2 young women stood beside it, completely drenched and waving at passing cars that ignored them. I almost kept driving. I was tired, frustrated, and drowning in my own problems. But something made me stop. When I checked their vehicle, it was obvious the battery terminals were badly corroded. It wasn't a complicated issue, but it wasn't something that could be safely fixed during a storm on the side of a highway. The girls looked scared and stranded. I offered them a ride to a nearby motel where they could stay dry until morning. During the drive, they introduced themselves as Sophie and Maya, twin sisters. They thanked me repeatedly for stopping because no one else had. We talked as rain hammered against the roof of my old Honda. Eventually, they asked about me, and I told them the truth. I told them about the lawsuit, about my garage, and about how people with money usually got what they wanted while people like me simply try to survive. They listened carefully. Then one of them mentioned that their father worked in law. When I asked if he was a lawyer, they told me he was a judge. I didn't think much of it. There were plenty of judges in Pennsylvania. I dropped them off at the motel, gave them my business card, and wished them luck. That should have been the end of it. Monday arrived. I walked into the courthouse carrying more fear than confidence. Across the room sat Grant Harrington and his legal team. They looked calm because they expected to win. I sat beside my lawyer, trying not to imagine life without my garage. Then the judge entered the courtroom. The moment I saw him, my stomach dropped. Judge Benjamin Whitmore was Sophie and Maya's father. The resemblance was impossible to miss. For a brief moment our eyes met, and I knew he recognized my name. Instead of starting the hearing, he unexpectedly called for a recess. Minutes later, my lawyer and I were summoned to his chambers. There, Judge Whitmore explained that his daughters had told him everything about the night in the storm. They had told him how exhausted I was, how I had nothing to gain, and how I still stopped to help them. He made one thing clear. He would not favor me because of that. Doing so would be unethical. But while reviewing the case, he had discovered something disturbing. The evidence submitted by Harrington Properties contained major inconsistencies. Some photographs didn't even appear to be from my garage. Payment records showed rent had actually been made on time. More importantly, he had uncovered a pattern. The company had used similar lawsuits against other small tenants, pressuring them to leave before their leases expired. Suddenly, my case wasn't just about one garage anymore. It looked like a strategy designed to push ordinary people out of the way. Back in court, Judge Whitmore began asking questions. The confidence on the other side quickly started to crack. Their lawyer couldn't verify photographs. He couldn't explain missing payments. He couldn't justify why nearly identical lawsuits had been filed against other tenants. Then Grant Harrington made a mistake. Frustrated, he admitted that my business simply didn't fit the company's redevelopment plans. In that moment, the real motive became obvious. The lawsuit had never been about lease violations. It had been about removing an obstacle. After listening to both sides, Judge Whitmore dismissed the case. He denied their request to terminate the lease, ordered them to reimburse my legal expenses, and referred the matter for further investigation. Just like that, the nightmare that had haunted me for months was over. I walked out of the courthouse, still struggling to believe it. My garage was safe. My future was still mine. Not long afterward, Sophie called me. She and Maya had heard about the result. They were excited, relieved, and surprisingly happy for someone they had only met days earlier. Then they invited me to dinner at their house. I accepted. That dinner turned out to be the beginning of something none of us expected. Judge Whitmore wasn't just a judge anymore. He was a father trying to repair relationships with his daughters. Sophie and Maya weren't just strangers from a stormy highway. They became friends. Over dinner, I watched a family learning how to reconnect. The judge admitted he had spent years providing everything except his time. His daughters admitted they wanted his attention more than his success. Somehow, through one random encounter in the rain, all of us have been given an opportunity to see life differently. Over the following months, things slowly improved. Harrington Properties came under investigation. Other former tenants began speaking out. My garage gained new customers. Sophie and Maya recommended my shop to everyone they knew. Their Mercedes became one of the first vehicles I repaired after the case ended. I still worked hard, still paid off debt, and still worried about money, but the crushing pressure was gone. Judge Whitmore also changed. He started coming home for dinner more often. He spent less time buried in work and more time listening to his daughters. For the first time in years, they felt like a real family. Eventually, he connected me with a small business program that helped independent shop owners affected by redevelopment. With that support, I upgraded equipment, improved the garage, and even hired a young employee who reminded me of myself when I was starting out. A year later, during Sophie and Maya's birthday dinner, they raised a toast and thanked me for stopping that night. They joked that not only had their car been fixed, but their family had been fixed too. Everyone laughed, including Judge Whitmore. Standing outside my garage later that evening, I thought about how close I had come to driving past them. If I had, I might have lost everything. They would have remained strangers. A father and daughters might never have repaired their relationship. One small decision changed countless lives. That's when I realized something important. Kindness doesn't always reward you immediately. Sometimes it disappears into the world without any sign that it mattered. But it does matter. It reaches places you can't see. It changes people you don't know. And someday, often when you need it most, it finds its way back to you. All because you chose to stop when everyone else kept driving.